Welcome to True House Stories. I'm Lenny Fontana coming out of Nueva York, New York City, baby. And today, or tonight, or wherever you are in the world, we are refocusing our cameras on a place that was magical and mystical in house music. We always talk about New York City, Paradise Garage, Chicago, Frankie Knuckles, Ralphie Rosario, Maurice Joshua, and all those guys. And of course, then we take ourselves to the UK. And UK had a big part to what went forward in this dance music category called house. But then there was a special house music that Tony Humphries, that we knew him as nickname Tony Humphries, would rock in his club Zanzibar and on 98.7 KISS FM Master Mix, along with others like Timmy Regisford, Marilyn Bob. And they would be working this new sound called Jersey House Music. Jersey House Music is described as a gospel house sound, big vocals, not disco-esque, but more churchy. Organs, live music, real feelings of heart, a lot of times praising. Artists like Kenny Bobian and others coming out, Eddie Stockley. But this guy, who I'm going to bring up, very important to the scene and was there thick and thin, coming up through the band in school and really honing his craft, becoming a sorted out DJ in East Orange and Newark area in Jersey and playing all the parties from high school all the way through and going into playing at some of the major clubs in Newark, East Orange area and that whole vicinity. And then on top, taking it another step with producing amazing artists, working with record labels like Nervous and Strictly and Mercury Records, and a lot of the majors here and abroad, as well being well respected with his partner, Brian Shank Thompson. So without further ado, I'm going to bring up one half of Brothers of Peace, and they can do it right. Do it all night and do it right. Paul Scott, my man.
Yeah, man.
Welcome to True House Stories.
Yeah.
Oh my God, your list goes on and on. Your discog list is who's who of house music, especially the Jersey house people.
Yeah, man.
But God bless you, still strong and doing it better than ever.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot, man. It's my life. So I'm in it to win it, man. No doubt.
But the people want to get to hear it from you, and this show has become synonymous with that first question. I'm gonna hit it up hard and knock it right into you. As a little kid, music is all around you, especially in those days. Radio was a big thing. TV was real simple, and I always talk about that 5, 6 channels on the television those days. So radio became a very big focus. There was no computers, none of that stuff. How does music find you as a young kid?
Music found me because God placed it in me. It was placed inside of me. And as far as I can remember, I'm always humming, tapping, and I had a fine acquaintance and desire to go towards wherever music was. So I had to be there. I could be tapping on boxes with 2 spoons, tapping on boxes. I don't know if you remember, they had when they used to give you your steaks, when you buy your steaks from the store, it's just like little plastic, a little plastic holding covering. They didn't cover the whole steak; it just covered the bottom half in plastic wrapped around the top. So I would take that, rinse it out, and flip it over on top of a box, and that kind of like would be my eyes to the beats on the boxes. So after my mom's got tired of me beating that up, then She advanced me to keyboard, to advance me to the organ, and I played. I didn't have any discipline as a kid, so I played that till I beat that up. Then she advanced me to a drum set. I think I beat that down. Then I got awarded a guitar. I kind of like held on that for a little bit, but it was a cheapy guitar, so I eventually beat that up. And then I came into before I left, 501 Central Avenue, where I was born at in Newark, New Jersey. Some of the neighborhood people know that I love music, so they would once they got tired of their instruments. I remember this guy Bobby gave me his bass, and you seen the picture of me playing bass. Bass is my first love. So, I really started honing in on my music skills, and more importantly, learning how to take care of instruments. So, and I played with the first group I ever played with, and I would think I was about 7, 8 years old, probably between 7 and 8. I played bass for this singing group in the neighborhood called 4+2, and we went on. We only did a couple of shows. I did a show at West Kenny School in Newark. West Kenny School, I think I forget the name. It's on West Kenny Street, going down off of South Springfield Avenue. And the guy asked me, he said, I played out of this. I'm like this tall. I'm playing out of an amplifier that's like this big. And he said, test the bass out. So I tested the bass out with Skin Tight. Do-do, 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 do-do. And the whole crowd just, they just exploded. And from that moment on, I knew in life what I wanted to do. And that was to make music.
Is this the photo of the band?
No, that's the band that I played with at once I got into high school. That's
Okay.
Impulse Incorporated. So 4+2 was it's like a neighbor. They were the neighborhood replica of the Jackson 5.
Oh, I got you. So you guys are really young.
Right? Yeah,
So
they were really young, like the Jackson 5, from the smallest going up to
Tito.
teenage,
Tito, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jackie, teenagers. So, and we did on that show. We did Dancing Machine, and they had the strobe lights, the strobe lights, and we tore them up.
You guys became the local heroes. That's what happens.
I only did like a couple of shows with them, and I know they did more shows without me, but that was a very defining moment in my life because that moment, playing that show signified what I would be doing for like the rest of my life.
So are you formally trained or you just pick this stuff up by ear?
Yeah, everything is by ear. When I was in school, I knew early on when I was in grade school, Martin Luther King it was on 8th and 9th, on 8th, between 8th and 9th and Central Avenue. I went to the music teacher and I said, you know what, I need to learn how to read music. And for some strange reason, they couldn't make that happen. And I went away kind of sore because I felt like I didn't get a good reason why they couldn't do it. So I just
So
I
you
shouldn't have
have
never.
no musical training.
No, very, very little. As I got older and more, I say about a good 15 years ago, living here, I went into Philadelphia and I trained with Donald Robinson. Just some basic things, how to play scales a little bit, and starting to get to understand my circle of fifths. But that was only like a couple of months in, and then for some reason we had to stop. But outside of that, I got no no instructional training. Everything I done was by ear, from playing the keyboards.
So you a musical genius, dude.
Not as genius as I would like. I still being older now and understand how far the range I could go. I understand where I'm short at on keyboards as well as bass and guitar. But I know enough to really put together a band, orchestrate it, make sure that everybody's playing the parts that need to be played, and getting the funk going. So I know enough there, but I know to get to the super professional level, it's still levels that I can go to, and I'm definitely in pursuit of it for sure.
So you can basically fudge it then. you can just like fudge it when you need to do what you need to do. Just
Right.
drop it
And
out.
I can, and I understand enough about chord theory to make sure I'm playing the correct chords. But on my piano, with my piano skills, usually a piano player play melody in the right and chords in the left. So that's what I'm kind of working on now, trying to play more chords in the left and melody in the right. And
Yeah.
as far as my bass, I need to get back to that too, and guitar I need to get back to. But now that I'm working as a teacher, and you got to do grades and you got to do lesson plans and all that, it takes away from this.
Yeah,
But
it is. Yeah, because people understand that teaching doesn't end at school time. You bring
no,
the homework home, right?
yes, sir. When I'm off with you, I got to be off doing something for school tomorrow. So. But I played in church, in these days. I've been playing in church now, wow, for the past 40 years. So that's where a lot of my practice and learning songs, learning gospel songs help me stay abreast with, different chord patterns and chord structures and how they go together. So that's the one thing that keep me abreast, being able to, do the
So
practice every Sunday for every
on the
Sunday.
timeline of life, Paul Scott's timeline. So you get that chance to play with a Jackson 5 band, like where you played a couple of gigs, and
Mm-hmm.
then you see that response. I guess you get
Right.
that bug.
Wow.
You get that bug, right?
Yeah, man, that was a defining moment. That was a defining moment, and I always go back. I keep in touch with the family that I perform with, and I always blessings to their parents, because their parents opened up the doors to let me allow me to come in to practice. And Lenny, I always give big ups to the parents who allowed me to come into their homes, and whether or not it was turntables or whether or not it was playing with a band. I always big up the parents because parents is the ones that have the keys to the door. So and I was welcome into a lot of places to be able to learn how to hone in my craft and express my talent. So
And
big up to all
that's
those things.
important. That's important. It's a community. It takes. So I used to say, it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah,
And that's
and I've
not like
been
mom and dad,
yeah,
right?
I've been a great village. Newark, New Jersey. Started out on Central Ave, 501 Central Avenue. Matter of fact, they're refurbishing the building. I actually got to let me come in so I can see it. The apartments is not the same as it was when I was born there, but I got a chance to go back to where I was born at and where I started at, and then from there, Seventh Street, between 13th Avenue and South Orange Avenue, and then from there I got the royal family letting me come in and practice my craft. The Shepherd family. I don't know if you know Keith Shepherd. He's a bodyguard for Queen Latifah now. Keith Shepherd.
No, I don't remember him, but maybe I've known him by face. I don't know him by name.
I'm not sure if you got a picture of him, at the high school level, but yeah, his mom would let us come in and go down in the basement and practice DJing. One time I went down in that basement and I met up with the dog, man, and he was looking at me like, "Yeah, I'm about to eat you. I'm about to eat you." But for some reason, he let me back out, and I went back upstairs. But so shout out to all those parents that gave me a chance. I'm quite sure you're familiar with DJ Chesway, right?
Yes, yes.
DJ Chesway, I was at his house, doing my thing. His mom let us go down. I mean, whenever a parent, just think about it, a parent that can withstand all that noise coming up the stairs, and they trying to, cool out and chill out, but they recognized where we was trying to go. So,
I
there
think to tell you the truth,
you
you know what I'm going to talk from as now in retrospect as a parent.
hmm
They knew where you guys were.
right, right,
It was better they knew you were there
right.
than running the streets.
Oh man, big another big ups to them, man. And I also want to give a shout out because my last interview, I want to give a shout out to my brother-in-law, Russ. My wife's brother. I want to give a shout out to him. Look, he built this. He built this humongous console, man. And you know, after I've been through all making all the records and doing all that, his place was another spot where I would just go to and just chill out and you know, reminisce from my Sensations days because I was resident down in Sensations, mainly on the hip hop side of the club. I was a resident. Yeah, that's it. I was a resident there. But then every time a Mark Thompson would go out of town, I would take over and play in this spot. And he usually would go out like on New Year's Eve. He would travel overseas to play, and I would get in this spot. And every now and then, during the year, he'd say, "Come on, man, play." Now I play. So Kelly, big ups to Kelly Willoughby, man. We, me and Kelly Willoughby and I, we still cool. He's an older guy now, but we still cool on Facebook. We clown each other, and man, the Time to Party record, comes through Kelly Willoughby. That comes through him, and Kelly Willoughby saw something in me because before I did this record, Time to Party, I did another record called "It's the Power." Now, "It's the Power" was by Wayne Johnson. The record was the record label was Short Sound Records. They was on Branford Place downstairs from Sensations, and Kelly, heard kind of like what I was doing with them. Actually, "It's the Power" is my second release. My very first release, I don't know if you have a picture of this, but it's Off the Wall, Paul Scott with
No,
Ace
that I don't have. No, I don't have that.
beat. So Kelly saw me down there and he was like, he knew some things was kind of shady down there. So he didn't want me to get entangled. See how God set you up and pulled you out of the mouth of the devourer? So Kelly said, "Man, come upstairs. I got something for you." And it was two studios in Sensations, and I worked in one, and Kelly worked in the other. And Time to Party came out of that, as well as Jomanda, because I was engineering in that room, and Jomanda, came down, and Derek Jenkins and Dwayne Smith Richardson and Cassio uh, brought the girls down, and we worked on the first project. Before that one, we worked on Back to Basics. Backroom Productions, and that's where "Make My Body Rock" came out, as well as "Definition of a Track" and other things. I didn't work on "Definition of a Track," but all the other songs on that EP I worked on. We worked out of Club Sensation Studio.
Was that the one on Ace Beat?
No, that's on their label. They had an independent label. I
Yeah, they
forgot.
had a small label. I remember first
Yeah,
before it was
yeah.
picked up by Big
That
B.
was that was their first label, and but actually they did some songs before that on Cork Records, Jomanda, uh, on Cork Records. I forget the name of the tracks. I can't get it out now, but yeah, and even before we got to that Back to Basics record with "Make My Body Rock," me and Backroom Productions, we was working and trying to hone in on the girls and get them tight. So by the time we got done with "Make My Body Rock," then that's when we went on to the album, the Joe Mann album. And I worked on that, and I did like a couple of tracks there that I actually produced, and actually I'm a songwriter on "Got a Love for You." Joey Washington and Sherry Williams is the main songwriters, but they gave me songwriters credit, but for some reason they was expecting me to administer my credits, as far as with the publishing, and I never did, man. So I missed out on a serious payday on that one.
Oh
Serious payday.
man, really?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember if I remember, was it Steve Hurley's mix that went to radio,
Steve
or
Hurley's mix killed.
that was the mix, right?
Yeah, that was a mix that really blew the record up. It was just like, you hear the original mix, all those keys on the original mix of "Gotta Love for You" is me. But when Steve Hurley got to it, it just became he came a total monster. Just crazy, so yeah.
But also, people don't realize, the Gary L record is, you cut your teeth in there, and you're also helping other guys. Like, for example, this DJ that went on to have an illustrious career later on, Hippie Terralis.
Yeah. "Gonna Miss You" is our song, man. And here we go back to Sensations again. So check the story out on this one. We in the studio working on "Gonna Miss Me," and Hippie, he's producing the record, and I would call myself a co-producer, although I didn't get that credit. But I played pretty much all the keyboard instruments on the song, the drum programming, and he brought in Carlito on congas. He brought in Kelton Cooper on guitar. I'm not quite sure you're familiar with Kelton. He brought in a girl, I forget her name, the hippie actually married after a while, but they got a divorce. She did the Spanish speaking part. So we working on the song and we mixing it and we getting it together. And Kelly came over to hear it, and he was like, "Yo, man, what is that? That is ridiculous." That's Kelly was hating on the record. So he was like, "That's a piece of crap, man. What is that?" So a few months later, no, so Kelly, so Hippie said to me, "Paul, get ready, pack your bags because we going to London on this." And I'm a guy where I'm like more like from Missouri. You got to show me. I just don't take things in like
It's like put it up or shut
yeah,
up.
yeah, really. So then next thing you know, the call came. He's like, "Yo, Paul, pack your bags. We going to London. I'm a DJ and perform the record." And so when I told Kelly, Kelly was like, "Off of that song y'all was doing over there." He's like, "Wait a minute, let me hear this song." So Kelly came back over into my studio, out of his studio, over to the one that I was working, and he listened to the song again. He said, "Man, I can't get it." But going to this me, man, a mega, mega hit, man. Mega hit.
That's
You know?
why I always say you never know.
No.
You're just making these records and you just don't know if it's gonna go anywhere.
Yeah, man. So that's one of my biggest ones, and we did it. I went back to London after that with Hippie to work on the album, and we did like about I guess we did like about 7 to 8 songs over 2 weeks, and but the record never came out. We did a remake on "You Should Be Dancing," and I thought it was okay, but then Dave Lee, right?
Of course.
Yeah, so Dave Lee, he came to a Winter Music Conference after we, like a year after he left, and he played me a remix of it, and I thought it was slamming. But for some reason, as far as I know, I will have to, get back in touch with Dave. But as far as I know, it never came out, and that was it for the album.
And the album, of course. And here's the thing. Now, back here on this side of the world, these records are being played out. Nobody ever sees any video or any of that stuff. And nobody really realized, unless you were in the inner circle, that Hippie was actually singing the song.
Yes, it
See
be,
what
it
I'm
be.
saying? We knew
Yeah.
Hippie as a DJ. Did not know Hippie was any singer.
No, he sang the lead vocals, and he had. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mikael.
Mm, that's
Mikael, he's like a songwriter, and he owned a studio up in East Orange, and he would record different people, and he's a pretty good singer too. So Mikael came in, shadowed him on the background vocals, real good stuff. It was the whole thing was a marriage, man. It's like it was like 5 or 6 different marriages all happening at the same time, and it just came together. I'm really proud of that whole process, and then I learned a lot from Hippie doing that. How you can take he got a black guitar player, he got a Hispanic conga player coming in, he got the Spanish vocals, and he got Mikael, a brother that sing. So he brought all these different cultures, and man, that's incredible. That record is an incredible record. So when I went to London, I think uh, I think I went to London. I think it was with Hippie, and we went to this club, and he said, you got to come see the reaction of the people to this record. So we standing there, and it took a while for the DJ to get to it, but once he got to it, and I saw the crowd reaction, I was like, wow, it's amazing to be in a land away from home and to see people respond to something that you did back at home. It's an incredible feeling.
Did you realize as you were in the bubble really what was going on? Or were you just going and saying, we got to get to the next record, we got to just keep doing it?
Man,
Because
it
when
was
you live it, it's different than
it
when
was
you're on the
always
outside.
getting to the next record, man. Always getting to the next record. You know, I wasn't. I don't think I was. I don't think I was hit minded back then in those Sensations days. I was just enjoying the process of learning, man, and learning outboard gear and learning, how to mix and learning, what sounds go together. And again, shout out to Kelly Willoughby, man. He was the one that gave me that gave me that throughway right there. Going back to the pictures you just showed, for me to get there, from Kelly Willoughby to get there, because how Shank and I met, it was at Sensations, and Shank and Punch had a disco duo called P&S Productions. Yeah, Punch and Shank. Of course, that's DJ Fred. But Punch and Shank, if you go back, you got a picture of Shank and Punch at the Zanzibar. Uh, Going back to that, so I would have them two dudes come down to Sensations, and we did a mix on the song called HMJ's Height. Do you know Harold Martin?
Yes.
Harold Martin was trying to break in, and I took Harold Martin under my tutelage, trying to show him about the studio, and so he had his little drum machine that he would tinker with. So I did a song with with Harold Martin. The rapper was Sure Shot. Sure Shot was a rapper from out of Roselle, New Jersey, and he kind of like did a hip house thing on HMJ's Hype. And I said, you know what? Let me get Punch and Shank to come down to do a mix. So they came down, and I don't know if you remember. You remember Lenny, Boy Jarvis. He had a song called, I think it was One Love. Boom, 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 boom,
Of course.
boom, 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 boom. That's Boy Jarvis. So they just said, let's just take the whole bass.
Well, that was the thing, because that bass line that boy was playing on every
Right,
record after the music's got me,
right,
everybody wanted that same bump sound. Boom,
yeah,
boom, boom.
right.
Yeah.
So they took the whole bass line, put it on the track, and Joey Washington is on the track. It's working, boom, 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 boom. It's working, boom, 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 boom. They took the rap vocals out because they just wanted to have like a DJ record. So uh, and that's another guy I want to speak on too, Boy Jarvis. You know, when I was going back to my HB days when I did Off the Wall, I was deep in the Boy Jarvis, man. Boy Jarvis has a special place in my development, man. Between release the tension and going to the Zanzibar and hearing that and running and that's all the Boy and Timmy battle record on Next Plateau. Man, Boy Jarvis is like, yo, he's very instrumental to introducing me to the dance music and how to get, because the bass for me the bass line was the key thing in the song back then. Your bass had to have that hook to get people, listening and then ready to dance. So Boy Jarvis, he has a real special place, in my heart. And even now, I still, can vibe over Boy Jarvis. If you go to my record label that I sent you, you'll see some splashes of him. Because when he did the thing in Music Got Me, oh, 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 oh. That hook is probably in about 4 or 5 songs of mine, So Boy Jarvis is
It's like everybody loved that. Hoop, hoop,
yeah,
party, hoop, hoop, hoop,
yeah, man. Ooh,
hoop,
ooh,
hoop,
ooh, ooh. Yeah, that's
hoop,
that's
hoop.
that's
I
crazy.
always said, I
Uh-huh.
always said, and I know I'm gonna get cursed out like you have no clue, but I
Mhm.
always said that is like the first house record.
Yes. Yeah.
Nobody wants to say it, but I'm like,
Hey,
I
listen.
get cursed out. I get cursed out left and right.
But you know what? Let me tell you where I get cursed out on it. Because Off the Wall, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Off the Wall. If not, you got to go play it. I claim Off the Wall to be the first house record. And boy, oh boy, you talking about getting heat? I get heat. Me, the song was produced by me, Cedric Guy, and Ace Mungeon. Off the Wall, Paul Scott. And on the flip side was a girl group that I had at King College called Everest. They did a song called "Don't You Take Your Love." It was on the flip side of that record. But I tell them, because what Ace did with Off the Wall was He took the James Brown sample and put it up there. Yeah, there go Ace right there. You on top of these bitches, man, for sure. He
I
took the
remember being in Ace's studio with you guys
right.
with
Yeah,
Camacho.
man. Yeah, man. He took the James Brown sample. Hey, hit me. So we had the samples there on the record, and it was boy boom 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 bass, and then it was stripped. Although I played a live electric the full grand P 88 piano on it, but it had the 808 drums, the 808 percussion in it. So I call that the first house record, but I get a lot of kickback on it.
Oh, sure, you're gonna
I get
get
a lot of
kickback. You know that. You know
yeah, I
everybody's
get
gonna be
a lot
kicking
of
it.
kickback, man. No doubt.
But I mean, when you talk about a record that really crossed paths, that record, Visual Music's Got Me,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was a massive record. Massive.
You remember the instrumental first before the vocals was on it,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And then the Zanzibar. I don't know if Larry Levan was playing it. I'm quite sure he did. But in the
That's a
Zanzibar,
Larry Levan record on a Saturday night.
really, Larry Levan played it.
Music's Got Me?
The instrumental one. That boy did the instrumental.
That dub version with Tony and
Right.
them did. Yeah, yeah, I remember it.
Zanzibar would be that was the peak of the night when he played the instrumental version. Boy, boom, 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 and that, man. But that's the peak of Zanzibar night, man. That's Boy Jarvis, man. God rest his soul, man. God, man. Hey, you know what,
Was
Lenny?
that
Keep getting in
during
trouble.
was that during the time was that
Uh-huh.
during the time when T. Scott played?
That was that. See, my Zanzibar days is T. Scott and Larry Patterson. Those are my Zanzibar days.
There they
Those
are. There
DJs.
they are.
I was good with Tony Humphries, but nobody can play T. Scott or Larry Patterson, man. Tony Humphries did his thing, no doubt. I went, but my hype days was T. Scott and Larry Patterson, man. And if you go on Mixcloud, you see I played tribute to Zanzibar, playing all the songs in their time space, And for me, nothing beats that. And Tony was good, man, but I tip my hat to T. Scott and Larry Patterson. So
And you
if
must
you see me
because
wearing my if you see me wearing my garage T-shirt, because I got a couple of garage T-shirts, that's really based on what T and Larry did at the Zanzibar, because I knew they kind of like was going back and forth between what to play between each other. Those three DJs, and of course Larry Levan came down to Zanzibar too. So they between the garage and the Zanzibar, they kind of like was playing the same playlist. Give a few takes, a couple of records here and there.
yeah, of course. Of course. Like South Shore Commission Freeman would make that place go absolutely crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Same as Zanzibar. Zanzibar, you can figure about 4:30,
5 o'clock.
about 4:30.
Do, 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 do,
It'd be Free Man. It'd be melodies. It would be Bad for Me. And it'd be dun 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 dun. I forget what thing. The Journey, I think it is. And look, and I want to go bang. See, that's all T and Larry days, man. And my most favorite classic is Weekend by Freak featuring Christine Wilshire. Yeah.
in the garage when they were getting ready to have a show, that was a record that either set the show up
Mm-hmm.
or after the show finished, he started
Yeah.
with that record and get the crate
Yeah.
10 over 10 fire.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I was in the Zanzibar one time, Lenny, and when it get to the part, I'm gonna fly. I was on the floor banging my fists on the floor, and my little cheap gold watch came off, and I didn't realize it was about a record later. And I looked around. I looked around on the floor. Couldn't find it. Looked at everybody. Everybody was looking, dancing, doing anything. I'm like, well, somebody picked up a watch. It's cheap gold though.
But I don't know, it's so sad because you watch today And what do? They're too busy doing this
Right.
instead of doing that.
You know what I noticed back in the early, I would say the late '90s to the early 2000s, that the party was leaving. The party was changing. The whole thing was changing. It was, even as a mobile DJ, when I went out to play, people, first of all, the line dance just killed everything, because our people don't want to get up and dance unless you playing the line dance. So all that music, I mean, all your greats, your Gladys's, your Teddy's, your How Melvin and Blue Notes, your OJ's, all that got threw under the bus for you know what's that, It's Electric, and Cha Cha Slide, and
I was gonna say,
WAP.
do the electric slide.
Yeah, man. So all they got, they forsake all that history of music for that, man. And you play any of those artists that I mentioned, including everybody around them, and everybody sitting around looking at you like, "Yo, when you gonna play Cha Cha Slide?"
No, you're
So I
right.
know,
You're right. It's sad. It's a sad thing that happened.
the party left. There's no more party. And now today, I mean, you can't even get. I don't know if you tried to, do a party with a paying party at the door on the inside. You can't even get people to come out anymore. But number one, we didn't capture the young people to pass it along to them. So they got more indoctrinated in the hip hop. So they're not trying to hear, house music. Only way you can get a crowd today is in the park.
Free of charge.
There it is. There it is, free of charge. You can't get them to go
And
by.
they
You
still
can't.
complain. Wait. And they still complain free of charge.
You can't even get them to buy a 99-cent MP3. So, and to me, another thing too, Lenny, is that another thing with that was the change in technology, and them taking away the vinyl. That had a major impact on it too, because now there's no artist to carry it. There's no new. They don't. People don't want to. They, first of all, they don't have a record. They can't go to the record store to pick up an album cover to look at it to see a person on the album cover. They got to go to the computer, and so that just technology had its part in killing the scene as well. That's what I said.
So on the timeline journey, I did hear you mention that you brought in Shank and his partner at the time
Punch.
from Zans, which Punch also, I think, if I remember, did he also work at Moving Records too at the time? Or no?
Neither one of them never worked at
No,
movie.
because Joe, I know Joe did. Joe,
Yeah, neither one of them ever worked in a record shop.
all right, so Shank and them around, so you bring them in to do that mix.
Mm-hmm.
What develops and how do you guys find each other into becoming the next step of your career?
Right.
Which
I
was,
think at the time when I brought Shank in to do the mix for HMJ's Hype, I think he and Punch was kind of like towards the end of the thing. Well, maybe really not at the end, because I think at that time Punch and Shank was doing parties at the Zanzibar. So they would get different artists, whoever was hot at the time, come down, and because they used to do Twin City Roller Ring, and that was their main venue, and they would bring like anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 kids out in that Twin City Roller Ring over there in Newark, over Freely Heights and Avenue. And then they graduated from there. They started doing parties at the Zanzibar, a few parties there. They started doing a couple of high school parties. This is before the Zanzibar. And then after a while, their fire just started to go out. So Shank wanted to make a move, and so we just, for some sort of reason, we hooked up and we started working together. By him coming down to the studio to do that remix, Shank and I started hooking up more to work on different things, and then one day, this was during the I think it was, what was the war? It was called the Persian Gulf War, and we was just saying, well, we need peace in the world, man. It's like too much fighting and all that warring going on. We need peace in the world. And then I forgot one of us said, let's call ourselves the Brothers of Peace. And that was it. We became the Brothers of Peace, and then we started. I think at that point, P&S Productions was pretty much done. He wasn't really working with Punch on parties anymore, and that's when Shank and I got started with
So
BOP.
what was changing in Newark around you at that time in the club scene? Because at the same time, you guys are making records, but what was happening around you?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what was happening at the Zanzibar because I remember it. I don't know if you remember the New Jersey Coalition. Do you remember that?
Of course I do.
The New Jersey Coalition. Tony Humphrey started having problems at Zanzibar with the management, and they wanted to throw him out. So Tony helped spearhead the New Jersey Coalition. They try to get the house producers to come together and to fight on his behalf. That really didn't take off that well. The New
Oh,
Jersey
you got to
Coalition.
explain why. Why was management pushing him out?
You know what? I don't know the ins and outs. I bet you Shank can tell you more about that, but I don't know the
I
ins and
think if
outs
I
of that.
remember correctly, the people were complaining that he was playing too new, and
Oh,
he wasn't playing stuff they knew,
Tony became political.
and progressive. He became very
Right.
progressive in his sound.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this. That's why I stopped going to the Zanzibar because I wasn't um I wasn't feeling the music like I did with T and Larry. So I just stopped going, and it just and also sensations was going on in my life, and I was working down there, so it was an easy move for me.
Don't forget, you had Docs, you had Club 88, you had a
Mhm.
lot going on. You had a good, strong
Yeah.
vibe going on.
And my wife at the time, we would frequent Club 88. We would go to Club 88, and I met her at Sensations though, my first wife, and Zanzibar just wasn't. I mean, yeah, Tony Humphries, he just wasn't doing the music right, not right enough for me, not playing enough. As a DJ, even today, if you're playing, you know, you got to be able to scan the room and kind of like try to touch on everybody that's in the room. You can't be all the way classics, and you can't be all the way new stuff. So you got to be able to kind of like infuse, kind of like capture everybody that's in the room. So
Oh yeah,
you
I
know,
remember that was Shelton Hayes there at Zanzibar.
right?
Yeah, Shelton handled that club.
Exactly. Shelton Hayes, man, and Shelton was a nice guy, man. That's how Punch and Shank got up in there. Punch and Shank got up in there through Shelton Hayes because he vouched for them to do it, and they had Punch and Shank had some pretty good nights down at the Zanzibar. They would book. I think they booked Lasandra. We just started. I can't really remember. They booked a couple of high power acts. They was about to get phase two reaching, but I think the weather went bad on them, so they had to cancel that party. But they had a couple of good artists down there, and they did well. So and that's how Shank and I came together, and we from there, we just we was working out of Ace Beat studio. We was working out of Ace Beat, and we actually recorded before we got in this room, we actually recorded "You Are My Friend" at Ace Beat on Sixth Avenue and on 376 Sixth Avenue. We recorded "You Are My Friend" there, and we actually recorded "Feel Like Singing" there at Ace Beat. Those records was recorded at Ace Beat. Yeah, and then shortly after that, we got into a publishing agreement with Jelly Bean, and that's where we built that studio that you see us in together. That studio is what was built out of the publishing agreement with Jelly Bean, and we don't tell me. I know you. Hey, Lenny, I know you know Jelly Bean.
Of course, I know John.
I know you know Jelly Bean, man. That dude would sit on a penny, man. But for some reason, we were being between the Feel Like Singing and the You Are My Friend. those two records, kind of like gave us a lot of cred. And Jelly Bean kind of like wanted to get in on that. So he wrote the check, man, for us to, to do that room.
Well, explain that also how hard it was back then to get good gear and finances. Because that's now everything is in a laptop, but back then that wasn't how it was.
But we mainly dealt with. Are you familiar with Washington music?
Washington, what? Which
Washington music.
you
It's
mean?
out of DC.
No, I don't know
We
Washington.
we we, we had a ongoing relationship with Washington Music because their prices was a little lower. So all the instruments that we would acquire, we would order it from Washington Music, and they would send it. We did everything that you see in that picture. There, I'm not sure where the board came from. I'm not sure if the board came from Washington Music. The board, that's an Allen and Heath board right there. I'm not sure where that came from, but I would have to ask Shank. But all the keyboard, the outboard gear, all Washington Music. Yeah. Even this keyboard right here. Let me flip it up for you to see it. This keyboard right here is an X5. This keyboard goes back to the original BOP, man. We bought this keyboard when we went into that room, and recently I just had the battery changed in it after what 30, 35 years, man. I just had the battery changed in it, so
It's
that's
crazy it's crazy to know that you want to call that a relic.
exactly.
It's crazy.
because to me, and you can tell me how you feel about it, but like the Fender Rhodes, the Prophet 5, if you got that plug in, and any other, the Lindrum, any the 909, the 808s, all in the computer, is nothing like the actual hard gear. Nothing like it.
No,
You
you're
give me
right.
your
No, you're right. I can't dispute that. I can't
yeah.
dispute it. But
But
now they made it so close.
mm-hmm.
It's really gotten to the point where it's
Yeah.
so close.
It is close. I give him that. But when you turning them knobs though, when you turning them knobs on that 808 or that 909, you
That's the
know, those,
difference. That's
those
the
are
difference.
frequencies that you can't get out of that plugin. When you actually turning the knob on that kick to get a certain decay on it, or to tighten it up, that's just that's the part that's missing. Or that I'm not sure if you ever had a 1200 or SB12.
Sure, we had a SP12. So that whole secret, that whole quantizing effect in that machine,
Man,
besides the sample.
no, there's no way they can duplicate that. When you go in and you play with the buttons to change the decay, man, the sound that come out of that SB12. We didn't even have the 1200. We had the SB12, and I would have the sample sounds. And when you start playing with those levers and changing the decay, it's a whole different sound, man. You just can't. At least for my ear, I can't really duplicate that
Let
in
me
the
show
plug.
let me show people how many like songs I pulled another photo. Look.
Mm-hmm.
Look all the tapes, look all the people. Look. You say, look, I mean, this is what is called realness.
Yeah, man.
Tape, Hammond organ. I mean, we're talking, it's real. It's real.
Those are hundreds. Those are hundreds of songs right there. Those are hundreds of songs. Most of them is not hits. Most of them is just stuff in between. But I'll say on at least 3/4 of those reels, I probably would say probably about a good I'll say about a good 75% of those tapes that you saw, some record off of those reels got signed to a label. Got at least signed, if not a hit, but at least signed to a label. So we were BOP. We were very
So,
fortunate, man.
so give me BOP's construction. Like a band does. Like, we all do what we do. We get the record
Mm-hmm.
done. What was the whole, you guys were in it. What did it take to get from the thought to the final wax?
Right. Well, my job was to come up with the original melodies, writing and writing the tracks, playing all the keys. Shank came in where he shared with the drums. We both shared drum program together. And once I got the keys, once I got the keys and the song down, once Shank would hear the song, he would make suggestions on what he thought should be added or subtracted from vocals to even the tracks. Then once we got to the point where we both were satisfied with what we was hearing, then now this is Shank's job. Shank's job is to mix. He's got to mix it and make sure that it's hitting hard of that speaker. And and even in the environment today, Shank is a genius when it comes to making something sound right. Oh, he know how to use the plugins and the side chains and all this all this stuff he be explaining to me, man. I'm like, yo, I don't know what you're talking about, man, but all I know is what I hear coming out the speaker. So that was it, basically our hookup. And then Shank, in those days, Shank mainly was the mouthpiece at the table when we talked because he had the gift of gab in the talk business and know how to make things happen on the business level. So we were a marriage made in heaven, man, because I took care of initializing the music. We both finalized the music together. He mixed the music, made it sound good, and then when it came to the business part of negotiating with the people, he was the main mouthpiece. I didn't really have too much say in the meeting. I would just offer a comment here and there, but he was the main mouthpiece.
And of course, sign those contracts. Are
Yes,
you,
it. That's shame.
are you sorry sometimes with certain records you sign them away, in a sense, perpetuity on
Well,
that kind of stuff?
well, in the front, we were just trying to get in. So when you're trying to get in, you can't really get everything you want. But as we went along, we were able to make some pretty good deals, especially with Shuji from Soundman on Wax, Freebase Records. We were able to make some good deals with him and get some good money from him. We were really cool with Mark Finkelstein, Strictly Rhythm, and Mark Finkelstein is like as fair as they come. He's going to try to give you the most fair shot. So I think overall we did pretty good. Yeah, Strictly Rhythm. Mark Finkelstein was always in our corner. Mark Finkelstein was hoping we can give him a hit more like Eric Murillo's I Like to Move It, but it never came.
Yeah, I know. And that was one of those freaky things, that wasn't planned. That just,
Right,
we all go in the studio thinking the same thing. We're just going to make a really, we think is a great record. Doesn't
right.
mean that the world sees it that way, but we think it is.
I'll say, what do I say? Our biggest record on Strictly Rhythm. That's a good question. What's our biggest record on Strictly Rhythm? That's tough. I might have to think about that, but I know this. One record we did with a singer named Lilius White. You ever heard of
No,
Lilius White?
no,
We
no,
did a
no.
song with her called "You Bring Me Joy," and that song made it to a movie soundtrack. So that was a big boost for us through Jelly Bean because we had to publish him with Jelly Bean, so that made it to a movie soundtrack. Outside of that, I would say Joey Washington, Just Us. That was a pretty good one for us on Strictly Rhythm, and the one that you posted, I Know He Will, Joey Washington. That was those were probably our biggest records on Strictly Rhythm. I Know He Will, Just Us, and You Bring Me Joy. So
For BOP, when did you see the change happen? As far as you're running a good course, and then things, the music starts to change around you.
I can tell you exactly when techno came, there was a change. Of course, nobody at that point they wanted to hear. They didn't want to hear no bass. They didn't want to hear no strings, no horns. They didn't want to hear arrangement. They just wanted to be headbanging, and that's when it really started to change for us. That's when you know, our, you know, our lift started to descend. So that's exactly when techno started hitting and our mind being held in, and and who was that? DJ Pierre. Actually, my name was DJ Pierre in high school, but DJ Pierre, I think he's from Chicago, Detroit, one of the places. And when they started hitting with that, that techno and that acid, that's when it started to change for BOP because we were more traditional. We wanted the vocal arrangement, the strings, the horns, and then techno kind of like pushed that out.
And of course, you're still trying to make the records and bring it around to people to pick up, and you're not getting any play.
Right.
It's a tough thing to accept.
And the few things that we did on the hard side, we got a couple of things. We did a song on Strictly Rhythm called Electric Voodoo, and people wasn't trying to hear that from us. They wasn't trying to hear. And you have to know the sound in order to be able to succeed in it. You have to know it. And I think a couple of things we did was okay, but nah, we wasn't matching up with Amon Van Helden and the likes of him. We just wasn't. So, and that's when it got to the point where we was no longer making money. And Shank said, "You know what? I'm going to school." He went to school for IT, and I was holding on. I held on. Me being a music guy, I'm gonna be the one that's gonna hold on. And I held on until Shank was like, "Yo, dude, you got to find something else to do because this music thing is not happening." So I went through, like they say in the Bible, you walk around in the wilderness for 40 years. I kind of like walked around in the wilderness for 40 years until my wife Tracy, you got her picture. My wife Tracy she was like, "Yo, Negro, we need some money." We need some money and you need to do something. So she was the one that,
No money, no honey.
I know that's right. You can't get no honey without no money. So I decided to go back to school because I got my college degree from King College in '86. That's around the time, a couple of years after I wrote the first song Off the Wall with HB. But now I needed to do something with that, so I decided to go and because back in that day when I left King College, I heard the voice of God tell me you should be a teacher, and I did get my substitute teaching degree in Newark. Uh, I went into the classroom in Newark, and those kids ran me out of there. I made a substitute like 2 or 3 classes, and then that's when I just going into the beginnings of sensations and all that. So I went with the music for those years, but I came back to it, and I went and got my teacher certification, and now I'm a school teacher now. So
What do you teach exactly? A particular
well, I started in Philadelphia over 6 years ago, and I was teaching social studies, 5th grade social studies and science, and I got bored with that real fast because those kids is very disrespectful. Then I went from there to Leap Academy in Camden, New Jersey. I was there for the past 3 years, and now, believe it or not, I'm with preschoolers, man. And I'm loving it. I'm loving the preschool. So I'm starting to get acclimated to the class, but this is going to do musically for me is it's going to take me back to my guitar. So I'm gonna bring my guitar to class and our morning songs. I'm gonna strum out our morning songs on the guitar, and that's gonna put me back in there. So I always gotta turn music out some kind of way with whatever I'm doing.
so really, this guy is now the guitarist, and
Right.
he's teaching the kids.
Yeah, man.
And
Because
that's a
I play guitar in a couple of bands, in between there. I play guitar, so I play bass, I play guitar, I play drums. You see me with the band. You got the picture of me with the high school band. I
yeah.
played drums with them during that time in West Side High School. But I was on keyboards right there, back there. But the other picture you got me with the band. Uh, yeah, West Side High School. For my last 2 years, I had a drum solo on the 50-yard line. I played 3 drums connected, and I had a 50-yard line solo for those past 2 years. Yeah, that picture right there. and that's my brother. Let me see, where's my brother at? If you're looking at on the left, 1, 2, 3. The third guy in is my brother, and he played bass. I played tricks. So music, man. I'm a music guy, man. That's what I do, Lenny. Music, man.
So that's all we could say. I mean, you are the music man, and and BOP comes back together. There's a happy time too, because you mentioned you guys are doing music again.
Yeah, well, we slowed down when Shane went to school. We slowed down, but I was still in my basement where I'm sitting at now. Working things out and doing things here and there. But then once Shank left left Irvington where our studio was, and came down this way. He's in Jackson and I'm in West Hampton. That's when we decided to come together. And when you go on, you can check out a couple of those tunes. There's some real good stuff up there. We got something coming now with a singer out of New York named Latasha Jordan Spencer. I'm not sure. You should be familiar with uh uh what's my man name? No. Oh, I can't even get my man name out. The song is Total Praise though. It's a
Okay.
gospel song, Total Praise. So we redid Total Praise on her, and the dub mixes to that is crazy, and the vocal mixes is just crazy. She's like a flat out gospel singer.
Did
So
you go into this with the same expectation like back in the day with releasing the record and all that, or you just doing it with no expectation
no,
and
it's
just
gonna come out on BOP Records. The link that I sent you, it's gonna come out there. And it's hard to get people to buy today. But mainly today, we do it because we love it. We're not really looking for monetary gain from it. If it happens, that's an extra special blessing. But we're mainly making music now because it's like a hobby, like collecting stamps is what you love to do. And as long as you live in, you love to do it. A couple of people will dance to it here and there, but we our expectations as far as being a success in it is not there because Shank he when he left BOP and got his education, he went to New York and he was working at Lifetime Television as an IT director, and then from there he went to Madison Square Garden and he was working as an IT director. So between all of that, we still kind of like clowning around a little bit with music. So, and then after that, he retired from Madison Square Garden. Now he's just at home living off of his spoils and taking care. He and his wife live in two different houses. He's taking care of his wife and taking care of their properties, and he's just living the life. And we still tinker around with this stuff. We still tinker around, and of course, me, I play. I still DJ at a couple of different venues. It's a couple of things down here that I played for in South Jersey, a couple of outside venues and indoors, and my man Cool V, I know you're familiar with Cool V, had me every year at Union at their music festival for the past couple of years. So, you know, when you love something like that, it's always going to be a part of you. You're always going to find a reason to want to get up, and there's always a reason for me to get up and tinker with this keyboard or that player back there, play some music. So it's what's inside you. You can't deny it.
no, and that's the truth. That's something that they can never strip you of.
Right. So
Is the love of it.
DOP is still well and alive, just on our little cool out, level. And when you go to listen to the music, man, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, these boys
No,
got
no, no. The people listening here, you need to listen to BOP.
right. Yeah.
You need to listen and support BOP.
Yeah, man. Go on. You can click and buy. you
Click
can
and buy. I don't know if they're on Spotify. You guys on Spotify with your stuff or no?
it's our label right there. This is our label.
So where are you doing it through? Track Source or where are you doing it
it's
through?
right there, that link that I sent you.
Oh, is
And
it
we're thinking about expanding out because we got some of our artists saying, "Yo, I need to be on another platform." So we're gonna
See what I'm saying now? Here we go. It's starting to sound like a business again.
right, yeah, because the people that's singing on these records, what happened to the singer, man? Where did the singer go? Remember back in the day, The singer was the one who promoted the record. Now DJs don't want the singer. They just want they want the cred. I'm the one who's on the record. I'm producing the record. They're not singing the lick. The singer was the one who sold the song back in the day.
That's right.
So they took everything out of the music to make it successful, but we can't get away from that. So you're going to hear vocals on that. You're going to see a vocalist first before you hear the dub mixes. You're going to hear the vocalist first. So
Sure.
that's
Sure.
where we at with that, man. No doubt.
So some things just don't change. It's just the
Yeah,
formula.
man.
The
Look,
formula.
when I hear a song, man, I want to hear some. I want to hear somebody delivering a message. Music is good. Don't get me wrong. I like to get my track source on. I like to get my. I like to get that on. But after that, you're going to hear a vocal coming. It's got to be
I hear
something
you.
because your soul have to be fed. You know, and if I hear 10 instrumental tracks back to back, that's leaving my soul void. It's leaving my soul void. So
And Lord knows we can't have your soul voided. You know,
exactly.
you got to be washed with some beautiful
Yeah,
vocals.
man. Even if you're talking about heartbreak, something touch your touch and goes, your hit and runs, your runaway loves, Even if you're talking about heartbreak or your uplifting, one of my favorite uplifting songs is my top one is Keep On by D Train. When
Oh,
I hear that song, man, that that song, make you subliminally, once a message getting in your mind, subliminally, you find yourself going to a height where you never thought you can go, So, you
brother
know,
man, James D. Trey Williams is a voice of our generation.
I believe you had him on here too, right? Yeah.
No, I did 2 records with him though.
Yeah, that's what it was. I seen you working in the studio with him. Yeah, man. Come on. Come
That's
on,
a
people.
voice, yo. There ain't no bigger. That voice is like Tony Lee, D
Exactly.
Train, voices of the generation.
Come on, man. Well, come on, people. We're sitting here telling you right now how to be successful in music, and I think people still want to hear it. To be honest,
Oh,
I think people
I
want to
got
hear it.
news for you. Newsflash. You know how to play it right. You know, drop it. The place goes crazy.
Right, exactly. So
Like
look,
proof in the pudding. Well, my man, I'm gonna tell you, don't stop that rocking. Keep playing till you can't play no more. You
hey,
know?
well, when they lay me down, I think last December I turned 60. When they lay me down in the dirt, you wouldn't be able to go 1 year without being able to hear something that I played. And I'm just gonna keep it real. I'm never gonna stop doing this, man, because it's what I was born to do.
Well, give me one record that defines you.
Mm.
And one record that you would say defines Paul Scott, you know.
Well, it's one record. It's one record that come to mind. The one record that comes to mind for me and has made a great impact on my life. Although on Facebook, you remember when I don't know if you caught it. You might have to go back and look for the post in my feed. I asked the question, give me one record. My question was, give me your most favorable record out of your entire life. So my answer to that was Shining Star by Urban and Fire. But when you just asked the question, a record that would be a close second was Love is in Need of Love Today. That one right there, Stevie Wonder, Love is in Need of Love Today, it solidifies, my mission in life is to spread love. And the days and times we living in now, man. Love is
Some
a
rough
great
times, some rough times.
rough times, man. Where I think it says in the Bible, and I don't need to go there, but it says, the truth will become a lie, and the lie will become the truth. And we got people that's falling. We got people that's falling for the lie today. But going back to Stevie Wonder, love is in need of love today. So that's the one song that has been it's been my life force.
Well,
It's
I always said those records are message records.
right.
Those are
Yeah.
message. They speak loud. They speak clear. They make you think.
What? Tell me about it, man. So, Shining Star was a song that I knew that I loved, but I didn't know it in my conscious brain. It was inside of me, and it was subliminally pushing me to look the word shining star for you to see what your life can truly be. Man, that with that rolling around somewhere up in the air, you can't help but to keep striving. I couldn't help but to keep playing this keyboard or playing my bass or playing my guitar or beating on I couldn't help expressing my music, man, because I I never wanted to be like a star, like in the sense of the word, like somebody that's like a mega star. I wanted to be able to walk out my door, go to the supermarket, go in the meat out without somebody, let go Paul Scott. No, I didn't want, I wasn't talking about that kind of star. I was talking about the shining star that was excellent at what he was pursuing. What of what I was in pursuit of. I wanted to be excellent in what I was in pursuit of. So that shining star, that always subliminally somewhere always caused me. It created a motor, a drive, and I always wanted to drive this, to be good at this. Now I know I need to spend more time, honing in on my crafts, and I'll get there. But one thing at a time. I gotta take care of this house first before
Yeah,
I.
yeah, that's right. You got to pay bills, take care of the house,
Right.
try to keep balance of everything, right?
Yeah, so it's more of a juggling. It's more of a juggling act than when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I ain't had nothing but time. So
I know, and the sad part is we're getting to the end of our lives. I mean, I don't want
we're
to say
in
it
the fourth quarter.
morbidly, but it
Yeah,
is getting towards the end of part of our
yeah,
life.
we're in the fourth quarter. Yeah, I don't, and
It
that's
is
why.
what it is. It
Yeah,
is.
I told my wife, look, whatever we got to do, we got to get it done. If we're going to make a move, we're going to transition from New Jersey to. I just moved my son down to North Carolina, her first son. And when I went to take him down there because he went to apply for a job, I was like, "Dang, man, you've been in New Jersey all your life. If you're ever going to make a move, you're 60. If you're going to do that, you got to hurry up to get to do that, so you can say you experienced that while you're still able to move around." So, but wherever I go, I can be in Jersey, I can be in Georgia, I can be in England, I can be in China. Wherever I'm at, this is never leaving me. It's going with me. So I'll be doing it for the rest of my
And
life.
those words say it all.
Right.
From now till the end,
That's
it
it.
it doesn't stop.
Yeah, man.
Paul Scott, Brothers of
Yeah.
Peace.
And hopefully somewhere along the line, we can do something together. We're not too late for that. So hopefully we can get
Never
something
too late. Never too late. We've lost a lot of brothers and sisters along the way.
together. Yes, sir.
And that's why we have good people like you
Yeah,
to
man.
keep to show the way.
Yeah, man.
Thank you again, Brother Paul.
Lenny, God bless you, brother.
All
God bless
right. And everyone out there, check out BOP,
you.
Brothers of Peace. Paul Scott, Brian Shank Thompson,
Yeah.
and their classics and their new stuff. What's the website?
It's www.bopmusic. That's what I forgot to put on the website.
BOP Music.
Bopmusic.net. Dot.
www.bopmusic.net. Bop music. Bop your head, everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody,
man.
bop your head. You know what I'm saying? Like, bop your head. So,
There you go.
this is another edition of Taking It Back
Yeah,
and
man.
showing you we're still doing it better than ever. And he's there to prove it.
Yeah, there you
We'll
go, man.
check him in 40 more years. We'll have him back on when he hits the
Yeah,
centennial
man.
part. Good night, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in. Hit Your House Stories.
Yes, sir.
Bye for now.